This is why. This is exactly why, if you are a person that doesn't necessarily have experience with a certain part of life, whether it be systemic oppression or just, you know, how economics works or anything like that, you got to do your reading. You got to do at least a little bit of research and let your worldview expand so that it makes your writing better. Like, you can't necessarily write about like the oppression of societies and how your characters are dealing with oppression if you don't understand how oppression works. This is definitely something that white authors do. They tend to talk about oppression but put white people in at the center of it so that maybe like their white audience can empathize with it. I feel like Gwyneth is a good example of this. It's not necessarily her fault, but the fact that it's like, oh, like she's part nymph or whatever, and she gets, you know, kind of insults thrown her way by Meryl, like, oh, like, get out of here, nymph, or like whatever. And she's like, oh, like, I'm a quarter nymph, so people treat me differently. Meanwhile, Emery, person of color, marginalized both in real life and as an Illyrian in her fake society, in her fake fictional society, just slides right on by, just slides right under the radar of the fans in general. And this is how we end up having situations where the audience of ACOTAR doesn't understand that Nesta wasn't wrong to give Cassian shit or give the Fae shit in her house, because the Fae are the oppressive party towards the humans. Oh no, like, Nesta was mean to them. She was being racist towards them. Racism is, you know, prejudice plus power, and Nesta doesn't have any power. That's not how that works. I feel like this isn't really unique to ACOTAR either, because there was definitely a huge misunderstanding about how oppression worked and about how anything worked in regards to the Harry Potter series. The fact that Death Eater tattoos in real life were a thing is fucking atrocious. Atrocious fandom behavior. Like, there is nothing wrong with Slytherin pride. Some of my best friends are Slytherins, but none of them were Death Eater Slytherins, and there's a difference. Also, speaking of Slytherins, the way that I could go on about how J.K. Rowling also fundamentally doesn't understand, like, human personality is a whole other conversation for another day. Right now, I'm shitting on the Death Eater thing. Like, if you saw yourself in Slytherin so much that you got a Death Eater tattoo, you are basically no better than anybody who was following Voldemort. Like, the fuck? The fuck is wrong with y'all? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We're going to get back to ACOTAR now, because, oh my god, I didn't realize that made me as angry as it does. But yeah, that's kind of my point. White authors, when they don't care to learn how oppression works or how people are marginalized, they tend to kind of rewrite how oppression works in their world and just put white people at the center of it, so they don't really understand why oppression sucks as bad as it does. So it makes these quests for freedom and these quests for a better world, it makes them ring much more hollow than they should.